Alright, this is my quick review of everything that I thought was wrong with Batman vs. Superman. It's a big epic movie, and if you're a big Batman fan like myself, I gotta go over the points of really where it really failed for me, and I have to agree with the critics. Overall, it just kind of sucked. Entertaining, yes, but still overall sucked and kind of ruined Batman for me. Okay, this is just a warning, there are going to be spoilers in this, but I'm assuming if you haven't seen the movie by now, you're probably not a big fan, or after seeing the critic reviews, you're debating on not watching it in theaters. Well, let me just get right into it, because right off the bat, you can tell from the trailers that this Batman is a different Batman. Not the same Batman we fell in love with from the Dark Knight trilogy, or maybe from comic books, or even the animated series, which I grew up with and thought were great. So coming off the Dark Knight trilogy, this is a totally different Batman. He's obviously older, but what I don't like that Zack Snyder did is that didn't really explain this Batman, why he is the way he is. He doesn't make the character relatable to us. It just starts off by showing the same scene that maybe my grandmother, or even my mom knows, hasn't even watched Batman, knows his origin story of how his parents get killed in the alleyway. That does not explain anything compared to our previous Batman, where he had belief in no guns and no killing.
You gotta be kidding me.
No guns.
We had a better understanding of what made that Batman tick, what he was all about to the core, what he really believed in. And now in this new Batman, showing that scene over again doesn't explain how this Batman became to be the way he is. It's a stark contrast from the last Batman. And I feel after such a great job was done in the Dark Knight trilogy, you have to sort of explain this new Batman if you're going to make such a huge change. Especially when he has more of an intent to kill.
Game over.
Well, pretty much straight up murdering people. Now, the only way that Zack Snyder sort of alludes to where we are with this Batman is by showing this suit with "ha ha ha, the joke's on you, Batman" written on it, presumably written by the Joker, of course. Now, at the time the scene was very quick, but now you can see that it's actually a Robin suit. From what I understand, this is following along the lines of one of the comic book stories where Robin has already been killed by the Joker. Now, the problem with this is the general audience is not going to know this story. They're not familiar with it. It's sort of just thrown in there. Maybe the hardcore comic book fans already familiar with the story would have picked up on that while they're watching the movie, and maybe not, because it was sort of a quick scene. Now, don't get me wrong, because I really don't want to see another Robin in a Batman movie, especially after the bad memories I have from some really cheesy Batman movies. So I'm not upset that he's not in it.
Good.
Now, on top of not explaining why Batman's character is a lot more hardcore in this movie, you also have 3 dream sequences which allude to future characters, enemies, or even events which are part of the comic books. One which you have a mutant bat where he's dreaming he's bursting through his parents' gravesite and grabbing his neck. And I remember when the scene was going on, it was loud in your face, and I was just looking at my friends, and we were looking at each other like, what the heck is going on here? And then another one where the Flash is bursting through the screen trying to warn him of something. At the time, you had no idea who this person was. You had no idea it was the Flash. Only found out afterwards. And then there's another dream sequence where he's in some desert of some sort looking for what I'm assuming is the kryptonite. And he's getting betrayed and he's murdering people left and right with automatic weapons. And then these flying bat things come down and they're trying to capture him. It was totally unnecessary. It was another one of those moments we're looking at each other like, what is going on here? There's no need for this. And then on top of that, you have this whole Justice League thrown in there, which there's throwing these characters in there where he gets a file from Lex Luthor, and these characters already have their own logos that Lex Luthor put on them. It was ridiculous. Now, what I do have to say is when I heard Ben Affleck was going to take on the role of Batman, I was pretty disappointed.
No.
But I decided to keep an open mind. Since I had sort of a similar feeling when I heard Heath Ledger was going to play the role of Joker, I thought, oh, the guy from Brokeback Mountain, really? But boy, was I wrong. Heath Ledger really hit that out of the park. He did such an amazing job. I thought Ben Affleck was alright. I still sort of prefer Christian Bale a little bit more. Yeah, his voice was a little bit over the top at times with the, I'm gargling marbles. I'm going to take it out over the bay. But it was still, I thought he was great for the role. He did a good job. And now on to Alfred, where he's become, I know this follows somewhere along the lines of one of the comic book stories again, where he's sort of like James Bond's Q. He's Batman's Q, where he's cooking up these gadgets for him to fight crime, I guess. Now I prefer the Alfred from the Dark Knight series because he actually had more emotion, actually seemed to actually care about Batman, as opposed to this guy.
Even you got too old to die young, not for lack of trying.
And also how they explain where they got their weaponry, that it was sort of like a high-end division where they made weapons, sort of like a Tony Stark type of industry, and it was just high-end weapons made for the military, but yet not released for the military. I just thought having this more realistic approach to it sort of made for a better movie that way. Now, I don't really mean to turn this into sort of a rant, which I kind of feel like I'm getting a sense of what it's kind of turning into, but even the new Batmobile and how it was used to sort of drag into the car and somehow he managed to flip it onto them, murdering everybody in the car. It kind of reminded me of one of those over-the-top Transporter movie scenes where sort of like he has the bomb underneath the car and he flips it upside down and just conveniently knocks it off with a hook. Now, all the things that I've mentioned this far are basically the main points that I find where this movie has failed. Now, you know you've really gone wrong with a movie when by the following weekend you get toppled for top grossing movie by a Melissa McCarthy movie called The Boss, which scored even worse on Rotten Tomatoes. It scored 20%. Now, that is, oh my god, that is something. Now, I'm just going to stop there, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.